Here is my version of a tongue and whip graft. What you need, or what I have here, are secateurs, or a pair of snips. Actually, not a pair, it's just one.
Snippers.
A grafting knife, which I don't prefer to use. I prefer to use a utility knife because you can always get very sharp blades just by going to Home Depot and buying a huge packet of them. Parafilm to seal the graft, which is actually a wax tape, and some electrical tape, which is what I prefer to use, and of course some gloves so you don't cut yourself. Alright, so we're trying to come up with this type of a graft, which is my version of tongue and whip, but when you look at it you can see that instead of putting a little cut in here in the middle, which is what a lot of people do, right here down, I actually put it right at the top and slice all the way down, almost through the middle. I dissect that back piece. So when you put them together, they lock like that. And that is not going to go anywhere in the wind or in bad weather, and it's going to stay there for a year before you even have to take the tape off. So that's what we're trying to come up with, my version of this tongue and whip graft. So we'll start off with this branch. Ideally you want to have something about pencil size, and we'll just cut this in half. We know these two match up. So they have these little knobby things on the side, and I don't know what they're called, where the little buds grow. They're supposed to grow up. So do not turn this one the wrong way around, or it might not work. I've heard of people that where the graft has actually worked like that, so that's what you want to do. So anyway, so we first cut it away from you. Make sure you don't cut towards yourself. You don't want to slip and cut your hand off. I put my thumbs on the back of this knife, or one thumb, and I push forward and I slice it flat. If I don't get it right the first time, I do it again. And sometimes I'll cut this little end off here, because that is where I'm going to dissect it from, at the back. So we do it to the next one. Okay, and what you're trying to do is match this up like that. See that? Okay, so that's what you want to come up with. Just a close match. Sometimes they can be offset a little bit, as long as those cambium layers are touching. That's the important part. That's where all the energy flows. So I'll put my gloves on. It is reasonably dangerous. I could show you a few scars, but I won't. Anyway, take the razor knife and we try to put it on the tip and slice down the back. Wiggle it. Wiggle back and forth. Okay. And so what you're trying to do is dissect this from there to the center of the branch, and a little bit further than the actual first slice. Oops. I'm going to dissect that. And do you see what I mean? If you slip, you're going to cut yourself if you don't have gloves on. So there we go. We've dissected that. See? And this is the whip part in the back. The little whip. The next one. Sometimes I cut that top off so I can get a good starting point. And I slice downwards and I try to actually dissect that. And it's going to be a lot more tricky on a tree, but it's well worth the effort, because when you put them together like that, they lock and they pretty much touch everywhere, and that is about twice as much surface area as you would have with a basic slicey graft, or whatever they like to call it. So that just locks together like that. It's not going anywhere. So the next step is taking parafilm, which is a waxy film that disintegrates after time. And just start wrapping the graft. And I do this to seal the graft and to stop the electrical tape from sticking. Some people use rubber bands like this one, but I prefer to use electrical tape. Give it a bit of a stretch. Oops. And start wrapping. Pull it tight as you go, and hold that graft together like nobody's business, and that will give you a very nice tight graft. As we say in New Zealand, Bob's your uncle.